Thanks for jumping into another podcast episode brought to you by Bad Tabletop Gaming. Your hosts are Bill, Armin, Andy, and Dan. If you are a new listener, welcome and thank you for your support. If you're a returning listener, welcome back and thank you for your support. Before we kick this new episode, we want to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Tony at Hammerhead Games, who has a variety of MDF and plastic cut gaming essentials from army trays to objectives and much, much more. And Matt at Pop Goes the Monkey, who has a large inventory of top-notch upgrade bits and specialized add-ons for the models in your collection. Links for both pages can be found in the descriptions of our videos. Lastly, if you like what we are doing, please like, share, and subscribe. Also hit us up in the comments, as we love all the feedback you give us to help us improve the channel and podcasts.
Welcome back, guys. It's Andy here for the Bad Tabletop Gaming podcast. I am with my two partners here, Dan and Armin.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
And today we're talking about Ultramarines, my favorite.
The blue Smurfs, eh?
Yeah.
I love how excited he was when he said that.
Well, yeah, it's my boys in blue, man. You know, like, gotta give Darren, that high five. Yeah. But yeah, Ultramarines.
Well, I guess we can start and go right into the questions. And what actually got you into playing the Ultramarines, Andy?
Well, for playing the Ultramarines, I've always loved them, even since when I first started playing it in 40k. Even though I started with Chaos first, but never mind that. So I just really, really liked them. I liked their whole Roman kind of feel to them, the aesthetic of them. Just the symbol itself, I've always liked. They've always kind of in my heart all the time, even though sometimes I'll be playing like totally different armies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And going through some of the stories and whatnot, just really really enjoy their stories and how they're kind of looking towards humanity to make humanity better,
mm-hmm.
right? But there's also a lot of honor with them as well, and yeah, it's kind of my thing, right? So Calgar, like in 40 Calgar, was like a favorite of mine when I first started, and then started reading Heresy and stuff, and there's other characters that are just, they pop up and I'm like, yeah, that's the guy I like, so yeah, I guess that's what kind of got me into playing them, plus being a loyalist legion. Our group had a lot of traitors, so.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
I guess they would be the loyalist, like the loyalist.
The loyalist, yeah.
Yeah, the loyalist.
Well, if we're talking about the loyalist,
We're not talking about Alpha Legion, Armin.
No, I was actually gonna say salamanders this time, but
Yeah.
But yeah,
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, they're right next to the Ultramarines, that's for sure. So
Ultramarines are definitely to a fault, loyal to the Emperor and that vision of the Imperium, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's just,
and I mean,
go ahead, Armin.
I was gonna say the one thing I really admired about Guilliman, and I mean everybody hates him, it seems like, but I actually like the fact that he kind of had a long-term vision for his empire, right? Or the Emperor's empire, right? He built his Marines to not only be able to, win wars, but also to be able to rule. Because
Yes.
unfortunately, and we see it now too, the flaw of humans is that we have such a short-sighted view, right?
Yeah.
The best emperors in the past were dynasties that were able to complete projects that took lifetimes to build, right? And Marines could actually see those through, right? So that's why the Emperor was able to do all that, and that's kind of what Guilliman saw. So I kind of really liked that portion of his empire, and I believed that he was successful with it is because he had these superhumans not only being able to fight, but he trained and raised them to actually be rulers of humanity.
Yeah.
People that can actually do things for humans for, the long term, so that, when that weapon isn't needed anymore, you weren't just getting rid of them, you were actually still being useful. So
and they definitely mentioned that, right? Like
they do.
They talk about that, how like they were bred as a weapon, but after the fact, there's an empire to rule and planets to rule and govern, and that's what the Ultramarine higher ups are for, right? So
yeah,
that's good.
And that was kind of cool, because that you always saw as a flaw in a Space Marine, right? Is that once the galaxy was conquered, what do you do then? Well, you have to get rid of all these,
Thunder Warriors. I mean,
well, that's exactly it, right?
Exactly.
And yeah. So I kind of really like that. So
that's basically what started the heresy.
Basically, yeah, in a sense, yep. But I mean, the downside was the Emperor or Imperium Secundus, but let's not talk about that right now. We talk about who the real loyalist and traitor is. At least the Alpha Legion didn't do that.
Well, we still had hope.
Yeah.
So Andy,
Yes.
what are the rights of war for the Ultramarines, and which one would you say you prefer over the other one?
So there is the two. There's the Logos Lectora, and that one pretty much lets you get a couple of or three kind of I guess choices of an effect for your army, for the Astartes Ultramarines and Dreadnoughts. So you get a full march, which is you get to reroll your run distance. Hold fast, which if you remain stationary, you get the snapshot at Ballistic Skill 2. Retribution Strike, so you gain counterattack special rule. So pretty cool. Circumstances, theoretical. Limitations, though, you have to take a compulsory HQ choice in addition to what's required, which has to be either Master Signal or Damocles Command Rhino. So for me, that's not a problem. Like in my army, I usually take Master of Signal anyways.
Yeah.
You have to take an additional comp troop, so a little tax heavy there, depending on how you go. Also, you can't have more vehicles with tank or flyer type than infantry in this detachment.
So it's about boots and command.
Yes. So, and then the other thing is you can't deploy infiltrators or enter via deep strike.
So they're not sneaky.
No. So no, they're not sneaky at all.
It's
they're heavy boots walking. Yeah.
Basically
pretty cool.
Up the table.
Pretty cool. Myself, I've actually never used it. So
I kind of think I was gonna say I kind of like this one for Zone Mortalis. Right?
Yeah, Zone Mortalis. Yeah, for Zone Mortalis, you can kind of gonna see what's gonna happen sooner, right? So you're thinking about advanced moves and advanced turns and stuff like that, right? The theoretical and practical. So if you're going to get charged, that turn before, kind of thing, you'll probably go for the counterattack just to get that bonus. Or if you need to get somewhere and reroll that run, or just the snapshots, ballistic too. Okay, but
I mean, in Zone Mortalis, if you pass your initiative test, you're automatically
that's right.
Full bullet skill, right? So
that's right.
So I mean, you get that, and then you also get the counterattack. That's pretty sweet, right? And then the extra troop. Usually, I find that in Zone Mortalis, you want lots of troops, anyways. right?
Mhm.
Like breaches.
Yeah,
are
and you're not
good
going to have a
and things
tanker
like that,
flyer,
yeah. No, exactly.
so
So
you're not worried about
I
that.
feel like I don't think it was meant for that, but I think it would work really well, right?
Yeah. No, say it that way. It makes sense. But yeah, normal games, I've never used it. And the second one is the Vigil Operati mission. Now this one is a little different, definitely. So you got the Vigil Auxilia for the effects. So all infantry units and allied detachment in this army have infiltrator special rule. You also have Sacred Duty. All infantry units in the allied detachment have implacable advanced special rule and therefore count as scoring, regardless of their battlefield role.
And that's pretty cool.
Right. Overseers, Legion Recon squads lose the support special rule and may therefore be taken as comp troop choices. So, there are limitations. So, the army must include an allied detachment drawn from the Loyalists, Imperialists, Militia, and Warp Cult army lists, and must take the Gene Crafted and Warrior Elite provinces. So, your army is going to be mixed no matter what, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's to show the Ultramarines are, actually fighting alongside their human counterpart, compared to the word bearers where they're driving this big meat bag in front of them to take the hits, kind of thing, right?
Sacrifices, right?
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Sacrifices. The black robes in the books there. So that was one of the limitations. So you may not include inducted levy squads. And it's Loyalist faction, which obviously makes sense because there is no Ultramarine traders at all. And then your Legion must include a Legion Vigilator. So a lot of different little things with this. Infiltrators. This is the sneaky one, Dan.
Yeah.
So
It sounds like they're literally guiding the militia and not actually like supporting them. Or I mean, not like militarily supporting them.
Yeah, this is like another arm of the Ultramarines forces, right? Like with all the worlds that they have, like this is literally another fighting force that is, when you think Ultramarines, you think of the Marines, right? But these are support forces and whatnot that fight along with the Ultramarines, and that's what makes them so huge sometimes, right? I also have not used this one. My army list, actually, I don't use any Red War, so to have a favorite out of these two, I think they're both pretty cool. Possibly in the future, I might try the second one, the Vigil Operati mission, just for the simple fact that there's some pretty cool models out there that you can make some pretty cool conversions with. Make them all Ultramarine-like. Necromunda Enforcers.
The militia?
Stuff like that. Cool. Yeah. So, but it's a different feel too, right? Playing, like I remember playing Armin on the channel there with my Ultramarines on a zone board with some Mechanicum, and that was the first time I've even touched Mechanicum or even had an allied force.
Yeah.
And it was actually pretty fun because it was different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this could be very interesting, not only in an aspect of gaming and how your army is designed, but also hobby-wise as well, right? So you can make those special characters to fit that kind of army and whatnot. So yeah, I'll probably go with that second one.
Sounds good. And we can move on to the next question. What's your favorite Legion-specific unit?
Okay, so I'm going to have to say the Invictus Caesarian. Now, before you guys say anything, we've had many battles, and I know James could attest to this. He's seen my Caesarian get their butts kicked by Marines just because I roll so bad. But probably my favorite.
Well, how do you pronounce that? Legatine axe?
The Legatine axe?
Legatine axe,
Legatine, yeah. However you want to
So,
pronounce it.
well, it's an awesome weapon.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they start base with it. I mean, they're not cheap though, right? Like when you look at it, they start at like
They're 200 points for 5.
So they're 40 points each for the first 5.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're 25 points apiece. So you almost like want to get those extra points so that you can actually, lower their final point value. But then the axe itself is its strength is user, but AP 2 doesn't strike an initiative, so that's really cool.
But there is.
Or sorry, it does strike an initiative. I apologize.
It does strike an initiative, and it has cutting strikes. So when you hit on a 6, it automatically wounds.
So you don't have to roll it, right? So
it just wounds.
Mhm.
So even if I'm going against something that has that high toughness that I'm going to need, 5s to wound or whatever, like it could just rip through guys, right? I know.
That's right, absolutely.
They have that. Their implacable advance.
What are you doing? Just sorry to interrupt. What are you doing over there, Dan?
I was drinking from my water bottle. Sorry.
Man, it sounds very exciting water bottle.
I was thirsty.
Do I sound like that when I drink my beer? Like, is that what it sounds like? Here, I'm gonna drink my beer. Wait.
No, we don't hear anything. But so besides their axe, they have the boarding shield, of course. Big, fancy looking boarding shield for the model. Of course, they can, they're can be equipped with plasma pistols and thunder hammers as well, which does get really pricey, but doesn't hurt to have a thunder hammer in there. They can be your literally your honor guard, your command squad for your characters and for Guilliman. So that's a neat one too. One of the neat rules they have is Lords of Ultramar. So with this special rule, so Legion Astarte Ultramarine special rule, as well as allied detachment units drawn from either the Solar Ox. Oh, I think there he is. Thought we lost Armin there. So drawn from the Solar Ox or the Imperialis Militia Army list within 12 inches of the Caesarian model, which itself is not pinned or falling back, gain a +1 modifier to their leadership value to max of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had that in a game where it actually really, really helped. Just rolling way too high on tests, right? But Chosen Warriors, any model in the squad can accept challenges. So that can issue and accept. So that can save your bacon sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I said, they're honor bearers, so they could be the command squad. By doing that, though, you have to replace one of them with a standard, I believe. Yes, with a Legion standard. So just with some of the stuff they have and the pretty cool axe and weapon skill 5, 2 attacks, they're probably my favorite. The other reason they're probably my favorite is because they have a model out for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure the only reason you like them is because they're the only Ultramarine one with a model.
So Forge World, again, if you're listening, please bring out these other models.
Oh, they're definitely listening to us.
So yeah. So I like them. I've used them a fair bit. In my regular army, they're actually not in the army, but when I bust them out, they're usually riding around in a
Land Raider.
Land Raider of sorts. Yeah. So
I mean, I think a little overpriced personally, but overall they're pretty good.
you want to talk about
Well,
overpriced?
Well,
You-
we'll get there.
You have to think of them, honestly, I think you got to think of them almost like just being slightly worse than just like Tardos Terminator armor. Just because they have a 6+ against shooting for the invuln,
Mm-hmm.
but in combat, they're literally no different than a Tardos. And the fact that they're in Artificer armor means that you can fit more of them in like a Phobos style Land Raider. So
Yeah, yeah, but like no power fist ability, right? And
you
then
get Thunder
the thunder,
Hammers.
yeah, they're so expensive. 15 points is a lot, right?
Yeah, but you
For
don't need 10.
no, you're right, a couple. And I mean, it says like anyone, right? So you could
Yes.
get a couple, and those are hidden in the squad, like unless somebody's sniping you out or anything like that, they're not
Yeah.
killing them. So it is really really good to get at least one, and the model looks unreal too when you model one with a thunder hammer.
The Thunderhammer, yeah.
Yeah, like they
Yeah.
already look nice, and just give them a thunder hammer. You know what would be awesome? Too bad the shield wouldn't work with it, but there's a couple of models that you can find with like the two-handed thunder hammer where they're in the
Yeah.
pose when they're striking. Yeah, you
Yeah.
get those hands in there and just like model one like that, where he like puts the shield in the ground next to him and just goes to town with the thunder hammer. That'd be pretty.
I'll
pretty
just
cool.
make a little buckler for him.
There you
Yeah,
go.
don't do that.
Buckler
I
with
don't,
the
I don't like that.
Ultramarine symbol on it.
I do not condone this.
Yeah. A lot of their other good units, but for them, yeah, my favorite.
Let's talk about the other ones.
Well, we're getting into like the fluff now. Like, what makes, if there's any added fluff that really excites you about Ultramarines or whatever. Now's
So
really...
the one part that I really really enjoyed, and it's in No Fear,
Mhm.
is when, and we always say this, but spoilers. It's when Ventanus and his sergeant.
Venanus?
No, it's Ventanus, not Ventanus. And I believe it's Celaton is his sergeant that's with him, and they're interrogating the one word bearer's guy who surrendered to them, right, at the
Yeah.
one battle. And he's getting questioned, and the word bearer guy is like getting really cocky, and Ventanus, like he's not letting it really bother him because he kind of gets what's
Mhm.
going on. But there's a point where his sergeant loses control, right? And at
Yeah.
that point, it shows you these guys are still human. You know what I mean? Even though they're genetically enhanced and all that jazz, they still feel like a human. They still have that thing. And then he
It's
unleashes
the emotions, yeah.
exactly, and then he unleashes the rage and actually does what he does, and then Ventanus is fighting a big ass demon. So, which I was like, what? But yeah, just at that point, like for me at least, that is probably one of my parts that I was like, that's pretty cool. That showed some more humanity to these characters that are
Mhm.
in a super tough time, but they're fighting and things happen, right? The other part of it, though, is when Guilliman is literally telling Logar, "You're dead, dude." Like, I'm coming at you, bro. you know. So yeah,
Pissed him off, yeah.
yeah, like you messed with me, and now you pissed me off, brother, and you literally stabbed me in the back, and we're coming at you. So yeah, it's fluff wise. There's so much of it too, right?
Armin, do you have anything to add? Because I know you've read more of the books than like both of us have.
I don't know, there's a bunch of stuff, right? When they're on the ship fighting demons, that was awesome. Just the whole whole scene with Corferon, I think, and like I don't want to say it's it's kind of like if you want to read something, I recommend reading it. They have a graphic. They have a small graphic novel that actually came out as well. It's not even part of the books. That's really like randomly somebody gave it to me as a gift, and it was really really cool.
Nice.
One of my favorite, of course, it would be one of my favorite pieces of fluff is when Guilliman almost went down to Alpha Legion Kill Squad. But
I don't know what you're talking about. I never heard nothing about that.
No? Okay, well you just wait. You just wait. It was just really cool because it tells the story from Guilliman's point of view, right? It's not an Alpha Legion at all book. It tells the story from his point of view. So it's really neat how he even like he recognizes that he could have died, but of course you're like, well, there's a reason why he's superhuman, right? And like to the point where godlike is that he didn't, and I think he comes out of it like relatively unscathed too, because he just has that like intuition that tells him something's wrong here, right?
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I mean, the whole part, I really enjoyed the whole part when like him and Sanguinus and Lion are together, and then you kind of get a look into each Primarch and how they interact with each other. That I really enjoyed that. So it's not so much just specifically about the Ultramarines, but I kind of enjoyed seeing the Lion's point of view and Sanguinus' point of view and Guilliman's point of view, right? Because they're very different, and the writer definitely, I felt, did a pretty good job at showing
Portrayed
that. So
that.
that was kind of nice. Yeah,
Nice.
exactly. As for the Ultramarines themselves, I mean, they're kind of your classic,
They're in like 30K
classic army.
In 30K compared to, I guess, 40K. They feel different in 30K, right? Just by some of the stories and whatnot. Like, they always go off about like theoretical and practical kind of events and situations, and it just, even with the other characters that you read about and whatnot, like what's his name, Gage, the captain, I think it is, or the chapter master Gage, when he's pinned up and there's that on the bridge and there's a demon coming at him and he's like, he's feeling fear,
Yeah.
And then you have Thiel, who is just like out there just swinging away. You know what I mean?
The sergeant,
Yeah. Like it's just there's such a different feel to the characters and whatnot, and Telemachus, the dreadnought. So yeah, not sure what happened there, but looks like we got a little cut off. But we'll just continue on. So
yeah, we were just talking about the fluff, but we can go into like reading out the army readout. So
yeah, for sure.
Whoever wants to start with like the Legion specific stuff, you can go ahead.
Okay, I guess I'll start off here. So the Ultramarines. So, of course, like always, Legion Astartes, everybody has that regroup special rule.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite rules for them is interlocking tactics. So, literally, whenever Legion Astartes Ultramarine unit makes a shooting attack against an unit that's already been shot at by another Ultramarine unit, so it doesn't have to be an Astartes unit on that part of it. You get to reroll ones to wound or penetrate the target's armor. This doesn't affect snapshots or blast weapons. So that's the first part of it. Really good for, obviously, the Marines. If you got heavy weapons, a lot of special weapons, support squads, veterans, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
The second part of it is same deal. Legion Astartes, Ultramarines special rule. Charges a unit which is already engaged in an assault by another Ultramarine unit, and you fail to reach the target. You actually get to re-roll your charge roll. So helpful. My army, it's more about the shooting. So so pretty cool. A lot of times it's one of those things where, like, if you're just starting Ultramarines, just play that list and remember those rules, because those come in so handy.
Well, I think a lot of people struggle with them, the Ultramarines, at first, because they don't have passive abilities.
Yeah.
You have to actually like engage them through one means or another, either being in combat already or having another unit in your army shoot and then you getting the bonus. So a lot of people don't think of it as a strength because it's not passive like a lot of the other Legion rules.
That's
But
right.
if you can combo it, and it took Andy a long time to figure it out, and once he figured it out, it was just like you do things. You could see him thinking, and you take like heavy bolters on Rhinos,
Yeah.
just to pop shot across the table, right? And be like, okay, now everything's going into that one unit, and you're like re-rolling wounds, and it's like, oh, okay, now I got to make this many more armor saves because but it's definitely worth it once you actually get it going and you actually combo it the way that you kind of were doing. So.
Yeah, and one thing with this rule, twin linked is your friend, right? Because you got a lot of twin linked weaponry on vehicles, and if you're shooting at targets that you can take advantage of this rule with, you do it. So it's, like I said, one of my favorites. The next one is Certainty and Resolve. This is also another good one. So Legion of Astartes Ultramarines special rule. They take fear and regrouping tests on unmodified leadership value of 10. It's pretty cool.
So they basically had like a pseudo no fear from 7th and 6th.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't have to worry about that.
Exactly.
Lower value than 10, and 10's pretty good.
Yep. And then in combo with, Suzerain, Suzerain are giving you mainly leadership 10 because of the bonus, and then for everything, and then this is just, if they're not around in that area and you got to take those tests, at least you have that, right? Which is cool.
Yep.
So this is my not so favorite one. The rigid chain of command. So if all my HQ units or all Ultramarine HQ units in the detachment are slain, the opponent gains an additional 1 victory point.
They FAQ'd it for Guilliman too, right?
Yes, they did. So in addition to this, if the army's warlord is slain, then every unit in the Ultramarines detachment with the Legion of Astartes Ultramarine special rule must take an immediate pinning test, with the exception of independent characters who are also part of a unit. They don't have to take the test. So it you do get pinned every once in a while. But the worst part about that is the +1 victory point for the opponent, because there's been many matches where I've lost it by 1 point just because of that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Guilliman pretty much has these effects when you lose him too, right? So, yeah. And then we got, we talked about earlier, the Legatine Axe. As user for strength, AP2, melee, specialist, weapon cutting, strike. So, hit on 6s, wounds automatically. The Mantles of Ultramar. This is a fun one. So, it's for your Praetors. Artificer armor, so 2+ armor save. It gives you a feel no pain 5+. And the part of this armor, the rule that I keep forgetting, is the immunity to the blind special rule for the wearer.
You get sunglasses.
pretty much. So you can exchange your artificer armor for the mantles of Ultramar for 20 points. So it's an extra 20, but you get a feel no pain and sunglasses. Yeah, I usually take it. And yeah, so that's pretty much their special rules. I know with the way my army is built, it really is, focused on the shooting aspect of the game, right? Like my army list is very, very heavy with big guns and just mass amount of firepower. So when it comes to close combat, it's a little tougher, but I also run Guilliman, so he's in there to support. But yeah, going into like units. Oh, there is one more thing I forgot, actually. This one's a cool one too. So besides the equipment, our Legion breacher squads have the ability to upgrade and exchange their bolters for power swords for 5 points each. And they actually came out with Ultramarine specific boarding shields and gladiuses, pretty much.
Yeah.
So,
Very Romanesque.
Exactly. And I love that look. And I've seen some pretty neat paint jobs for it as well.
It would be awesome to just have a whole army of the the other ones. I can't think of them now. The Suzerains and then breachers, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Just,
I always had the thought of like making the breacher squad with MK3 armor and these shields and swords, but then have every one of my Marines have the cross-sectioned plume on the top there, the crest.
Yeah.
And they would pretty much look like Praetorians. You know what I mean? From like the old Roman era. So, but
it's a lot of bits.
Yeah,
pretty awesome though.
We know what those are like. Maybe one day, make a command squad like that. So yeah, so next is the Invictus Caesarian squad, and we've already touched base on these guys. So Andy's favorite, and next is the Honored Telemachus. So pretty much 255 points. I believe, well, his weapon skill 6. That's better than a regular Contemptor, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think so.
5.
Yeah. So
4 hull points.
4 hull points.
Yep.
Carries assault cannon, dreadnought, close combat, and commie bolter. And he has fleet, brutal charge, living icon of the Legion, resilient, and wrath and betrayal. Loyalist faction only, of course. So brutal charge, he inflicts D3 hammer of wrath attacks on the charge. Living icon of the Legion. So units with the Legion Asterius Ultramarine special rule with at least one model within 12 inches of the Honored Telemachus gain +1 to their assault resolution score and may add +1 to their sweeping advance rolls. Which is awesome.
It's another leadership buff, right?
For sure. Resilient. Whenever armored Telemachus suffers a penetrating hit, their owning player may ask their opponent to re-roll the result roll in the vehicle damage chart or the destroyer damage chart. However, the second result stands, of course. So
he's venerable then, right?
Pretty much.
Kind of like the 7th used to be.
Yeah.
And then he has hatred,
wrath, and betrayal.
Traitors, yeah.
Yeah, so hatred, traitor legions.
Well, it says Trader Legion Astartes special rule, so I guess not like Hatred vehicles or Trader vehicles or anything like that. Just like
Correct.
Legion Astartes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So he's
but it's kind of weird, though, because it says which applies to all units chosen from the Trader Legion Astartes forces.
I think they just meant like in general.
Yeah, yeah. So I think he has Hatred traders.
gotcha.
Is he elite or is he an HQ?
He's an elite. Yeah.
Because there's one of them I think is an HQ. I can't remember. Anyways,
I've used them. Used them actually as Zone Mortalis against Darwin. It's pretty cool. His bonus, his bubble there of the, I believe it was the +1 assault resolution. That I think I got that actually. Had to use that in one of our fights.
I think so too.
But I think it was like Tactical Marines versus Tactical Marines. So.
Hey.
oh.
Those are still Marines.
I know. I know. So this is a unit that I would love for them to create, make, produce, whatever. The Luctaris Storm Squad. So literally your assault squad, right? 185 points, 5 of them. Except they're in artificer armor, and they got power swords. They also have opening salvo and precision intervention. They have the usual upgrades, plasma pistols, power axe, all that stuff, melt bombs. But opening salvo. So on the turn the squad arrives from deep strike, it can fire its pistol type weapons twice in the shooting phase against the same target, which it has to be. But characters who've joined this unit do not gain the ability. So in our community, quite a few years back, there was one other Ultramarine player, and I've seen him use this. At the time, I was actually playing World Leaders. The only problem with this I find is now you're clumped if you're deep striking.
Yeah.
Right?
Because you're not running if you're shooting, yeah.
Which, as we all know in Heresy, there's a lot of large blasts that do a lot of high damage with high AP. So you can lose this unit pretty quick.
I mean, but point value wise, they're really good.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're, again, a little pricey to start, but 20 points afterwards, when you think about it, compare them to a regular Marine, they've got power weapons and artificer armor base with jump packs.
True.
So for like a jump troop unit, they're actually really good.
Yeah, I know Alex has mentioned these guys to me quite a few times, but why aren't you using them?
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, you only get the one melt bomb, right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
And a couple of things here and there, but it says for every 5 models you can get a plasma pistol, and then your strike leader can get a plasma pistol, so you can have 3 plasma pistols. So if you choose to use that opening salvo rule, you could be firing 6 of those shots, right? So it's not like bad if you build them. I mean, it gets pricey, right? But they're really cool for a jump unit. They're actually not crazy expensive.
That's true. Power swords, arty armor. Plus, they got the 2 abilities, right? So the second ability is precision intervention. So when they're arriving deep strike, pretty much they get to re-roll their scatter dice to see where it lands, which helps.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. So probably a book out of the Blood Angels, or a page out of the Blood Angels.
Yeah, they're
army.
basically, because that's kind of what Ultramarines are good at, right? They're literally, they take whatever they see and make it better for themselves, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what you'll see with like these jump troops, because they're basically Dawnbringers, but they just made them for their own selves, kind of thing.
No, for sure.
And then the next unit you'll see makes Bill cringe every time we talk about them.
Well, let's talk about them.
So the Fulman Terrace Terminator Strike Squad. So you get 5 of them. Yep. Go ahead, Armin.
No, you keep going.
Okay. So we get 5 of them. Bliss skill 5. 1 wound Terminator. 225 points. So they're equipped with a power maul, combi bolter. They have paracharge targeter and cataphractic Terminator armor.
Mm-hmm.
And of course they have, Land Raider Phobos or Proteus as a dedicated transport, or Spartan if you have a certain amount. So they can have power sword, power axe, power fists, combi Melta, Reaper autocannons each. But they can also be equipped with Cyclone missile launchers each.
As long as they don't have the other heavy weapons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So their targeter, the Paratarch targeter. So as long as at least 2 models equipped with the targeter are in the unit, the entire unit gains night vision special rule.
Can I just mention something? Sorry to interrupt.
No,
Sorry to
it's all
interrupt.
good.
Can I just mention something really weird? So it says all the models in the squad may exchange their combi bolters for one of the following heavy weapons.
Yes.
And those heavy weapon options are combi meltas or Reaper autocannons. So then, as long as you have not already exchanged your combi bolters for heavy weapons, so that means you can't have a combi melta and a cyclone missile launcher?
Guess not, if that's the
what?
wording.
I've never.
That's kind of weird because I kind of like both technically, but okay. Sorry, keep going. The targeter is really good.
So the second part of this targeter is as long as at least 5 models are equipped with the targeter, the entire unit gains Tank Hunter special rule. And then the third portion is as long as 8 models are equipped with the targeter, the opposing player makes its cover saves at -1 against the unit.
So the squad automatically starts with Tank Hunter until you lose the one guy, right?
Yes.
You have to buy
night vision.
Yeah, and Tank Hunter, yeah.
Yeah.
So normally I would look at these guys and say, hey, these guys are amazing because they have all these special rules and everything. And when you look at their base cost, 225 for 5, 35 points each is actually really good price with 5 ballistic kill. But when you look at the cost of that Cyclone,
30 points.
It's insane.
Yes.
A model, and you have to buy it for all of them.
Yes.
Now you're paying 65 points for a Terminator? Like,
they're super, super expensive.
So expensive.
The Iron Warriors, and one of Bill's favorites, the Tyrants? Siege Tyrants?
Siege Tyrants, yeah.
Yeah, so every Iron Warriors force that I've seen in the community here has them, because they are good. But that's what these guys are supposed to be like, right? And with a little bit extra high-tech gear.
What gets Bill all knotted up is he doesn't like that, say, if you have 10 of those guys, it's actually cheaper than an Iron Warrior setup where you have 10 Siege Tyrants and, say, like a Siege Breaker to give the unit Tank Hunter. Because then then you have to buy a second or an HQ just to babysit them, while these guys by themselves already get Tank Hunter and Night Vision and -1 to your cover. They end up being a little more expensive, but they're actually cheaper in the long run, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because you don't 60-something point squad.
Yeah.
Or 600, 700 point squad.
Yeah. Some big points on that one.
Because like Tyrant Siege Terminators are 50 points a piece extra. These guys are 65.
So you're paying, the points, but it's just.
And guess what? Tyrant Siege Terminators can also exchange their combi bolter for a combi weapon. So he could be running Cyclone missile launchers and combi meltas.
Yeah.
Where these Terminators cannot do that. That said, though, guys, let's talk about something that I've never seen anybody run, which I'm actually extremely disappointed for. But see, this is my disappointment. Why aren't we running these Terminators with just combi meltas? Like, you're looking at 40 points a Terminator for extra ones.
Yeah.
You start with Tank Hunter. So the turn you come down, either in a drop pod, right, the Anvilus, or you're deep striking, or can they actually deep strike?
I don't think they have the ability, but if you can get them dread claws and stuff like
Orbital assault or
So
something. Like you still have tank hunter with combat meltdowns.
so
Like, that's
they are
amazing.
they are a heavy support choice.
Oh, that's the big problem.
So in my current list, they don't work for me,
Okay, so that's another 5 points.
right? Like I have a lot of heavy tanks taking up those slots.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so these guys don't work. Again, in the future, I might start adjusting my army, change it up, because let's be honest here, I've played my army for the same army. I hammered that same army out for over a year and a half now, right? And I love playing it, but eventually I'll probably spruce it up a little bit, change things, and try different things too, right? So
Yeah.
And
Don't get me
again,
wrong, I didn't realize that they didn't have power fists, so you kind of want to pay
No.
for those. So
No, they have
that
power
does
mauls.
make them a little more expensive. So now that I actually think about it, 40 points. Now that you don't have power fists.
power mauls.
Just power mauls, buddy. Beat people
Mhm.
with baseball bats.
So,
Does anybody care? Like, I don't understand. Why are we talking about power mauls?
well, like we said, they're super expensive, so you start upgrading with everything, right?
Yeah,
But
they definitely get pricey, that's for sure.
You treat them as like moving turrets. I don't think you're meant to like walk them up to tanks and smash them. I think you're supposed to shoot them across the board or shoot whatever you're trying to shoot across the board.
You're hitting
right?
on twos.
Yeah.
Hitting on twos, and you have some interlocking tactics going on.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah, I'd love to see you start losing these 80-point models.
I have used them.
Exaggeration, but yeah.
I have used them, and me and Bill have exchanged some firepower at each other, and Terminators die pretty quick when there's lots of shots coming at them. So next on the list is Dan's favorite, Captain Remus Ventanus. So he's quite the support character. And so what he is, pretty much he's a Praetor. He's got a power sword for weapon, melt bombs, Nuncio Vox, Legion Standard, and he's in power armor. So
Wouldn't he be more of like a herald?
yeah, in a sense, pretty much.
He's probably got one more wound, I think. Does he have 3 wounds or 2?
3 wounds.
Yeah,
3 wounds.
he's basically a herald with 1 more wound. But he's better than a herald because he does a bunch of stuff.
155 points. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Cunning strategist. So while he's alive, the opposing player has a -1 modifier to all reserve rolls, and the owning player may choose to reroll any reserve rolls made, whether failed or successful. And I use this a lot. Go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna say, what do you combo it with, Andy?
Oh, the exploratory augury web on the Proteus, I believe.
Yeah, the Proteus, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm giving my opponent -2 for his reserve rolls. And funny enough, the first time I took it to LVO, I didn't even get to use it once because nobody put anything in reserves. So, but yeah, so if he's your warlord, he has resolute planning. So with that, he has both him and the Unit of Legion Astartes Ultramarines special in the army with Remus Ventanus. As its warlord, have stubborn special rule while they have at least 1 model within 3 inches of an objective. So, but I believe the Legion Standard itself, Fearless?
It should give us like a 6-inch Fearless bubble.
I can't remember if it's a bubble or if it's for the unit, but it has Fearless.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a fun character. I don't try to get him into any duels or anything, but he can keep units, standing, and just those bonuses, they help me out a lot. You kind of control that aspect of things.
Well, he's a good sidekick for Guilliman, right?
Yep, exactly. I wish they actually made Theo in as a character.
Oh, the other guy, yeah.
Yeah, but well, let's be honest. I wish they kind of made them all, but that's just me. So next unit is the Damocles Command Rhino, 100 points, and I believe this is available to everybody now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have Gene Locator Beacon, Command Vox Relay. You have a Focus Bombardment. There's special deployment for this thing, apparently. Carries 6 models. I haven't really used it myself. I usually take a Master Signal. So yeah, the Locator Beacon. So units arriving via the Deep Strike, which part of the force containing the Damocles, do not need to reroll Scatter if they choose to arrive within 24 inches. So that's pretty good.
A lot of deep striking armies use it. Like if you're playing like a mass assault marine army or something like that, you'll see a lot of guys run those, especially like in the Blood Angel army. You'll see them. I mean, yeah, it just mostly helps with like deep striking, and it's 100 points, so it's dirt cheap.
So Command Vox Relay. So the Damocles allows the controller player to add +1 to or subtract -1 from the results of any reserve rolls they make while the Damocles is in play. In addition, should enemy models suffer a deep strike mishap when the Damocles is in play, the roll suffers a -1 modifier. So again,
it's not big until it actually happens.
Yeah. But. So another, bonus to reserves or deep strikes kind of thing, right? And then Focus Bombardment, just the usual Ordnance Bombardment, Strength 8, AP3, Ordnance 1, Lance, Twin Link Barrage, Lord Blast of 5. And then it has a little thing here for special deployment. So 0 to 1, Damocles Command Rhinos may be taken in any Legion of Stars Crusade army as a non-compulsory HQ for any force over 1,000 points. In addition, the Ultramarines Legion designed for command purposes also take a single additional Damocles Command Rhino as a dedicated transport for a Master of Signal.
Ooh.
So, guess I know what transport my Master of Signal will be in eventually. He's got his own ride.
Can he shoot out of the top hat? Oh, is there a top? No, there's no top hatch.
No, it's
not a basic Rhino.
No, it has like the satellite on it.
So. Yeah, I was trying to give you like where you could shoot 2 orbital bombardments a turn, or one turn.
Oh, you could still.
Nice. Yeah, if he's outside. Yeah.
Well, the Master of Signal just jumps out.
Yeah, basically.
So, and last but not least,
Guilliman.
Everybody calls him that.
I don't even know why. Is it just because he starts with a G?
I guess. I don't know. Rabute Guilliman.
Probably one of the best Primarchs out there.
He's pretty good, yeah.
Pretty good. I enjoy playing him. Real good support stuff, some rules, and then, we'll talk about that here. So, Weapon Skill 7, Ballistic Skill 6, Strength 6, Toughness 6, Wound 6, Initiative 6, Attacks 4, Leadership 10, of course, and 2+. Pretty decent.
4 is kind of weird. I mean, he does have 2 close combat weapons that are specialists, so he gets the extra attack. But
yes,
that's the only thing that I'm like, why? But I mean, overall normal. Weapon Skill 7 is nice, right?
Yeah, exactly. So for his war gear, he has the Armor of Reason, the Gladius Incandor, and the Hand of Dominion, the Arbitrator, Cognos Signum, and Frag Grenades. And then his special rules, all the Primarch stuff usually.
Mhm.
Sire of the Ultramarines, preternatural strategy, unyielding will, and of course bulky. So, Sire of the Ultramarines. So any unit that he joins can reroll failed charge distances and ignores the effects of concussion special rule. So right there already, it's like, damn.
So that's Reboot Guilliman as well, so he cannot
Yeah.
be concussed.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I guess it
So-
would move over. Yeah. Never thought about that.
Yeah.
So then also, of course, all Legion of Stars Ultramarines, the special rule, in the same army as him, get +1 leadership value. So
Okay, keep going. Keep
when he's
going.
in
Next
plane,
one,
right?
the important one.
Invictus Caesarian squads and Legion Terminator squads may be taken as troops for the Ultramarines.
There you go.
As long as he's the warlord.
Like that's amazing,
Oh, of course
right?
it is.
Like
It's the honor guard, man.
Horus has that basically, right? Like he makes Justarin and veterans troops, and Guilliman's might be a little worse because like Suzerain and Legion Terminators, but that's still like amazing. No wonder you don't have to run a Rite of War because you don't need to worry about, you could just fill your, you don't need tactical Marines if you don't want them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, could be a
I mean,
very
you should, but
could be a very elite army, right?
right.
So,
And that's a great rule to just get for free. That's awesome.
well, 400 points free.
Wow.
I had to mention that in there because I forgot to say that. But so his next rule here is preternatural strategy. So with him on the first turn, so when you're determining like the first turn for the mission, the opposing player has to reroll successful attempts to seize the initiative where, I'm going first kind of thing, right?
Which can be brutal.
Yes. The next one is a big one for me. So you get to literally select a single unit entry from the Ultramarines army list, and you can give it, and it gains one of the following rules. So it can gain Implacable Advance, Interceptor, or Tank Hunters if they don't already possess it, right? So with this, it's nice because it's like I was saying here, a single unit entry. So if you're taking multiple units, like
Of the same name.
of the same, it's wicked. Like it's awesome, right?
What do you use it for, Andy?
So myself, I usually use the Implacable Advance or Tank Hunters. And it's usually on my javelins that are outflanking.
Right? Like javelins with Tank Hunter. That's unreal.
So not only am I getting these abilities, one of these abilities, but I'm also getting the possibility of, re-rolling on a failed roll for reserves to come out flanking with my combo of the other characters, getting the bonus, right? So it's really determining when I want those to come in, right? Still a chance that I'm not coming in, but let me tell you, when I give those javelins Implacable Advance and they're holding objectives, it kind of blows people's minds away, right? Because you're literally at one side of the board and then you just flat out, and you're on the other side of the board. Now you're holding something that they just ran away from or whatever, right? And then of course, if they have Tank Hunters, well, I run my javelins with missiles and multi-meltas and hunter killer missiles. So pretty cool. Love it.
I mean, the other cool thing too is you could always, I feel like this is one of those times where maybe a couple last cannons, like a squad, two squad of last cannons, wouldn't be bad either.
So,
right?
So the thing with that, I don't think is the last cannon. Are you talking like?
Javelin.
Yeah, but is it twin linked last cannon?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just a javelin. It's just an upgrade.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to think if it was two last cannons, because it's been so long since I've used them.
No, it's twin linked, right? But that's still like with Tank Hunter, it makes them like that little bit extra.
Yeah.
Especially if you're facing a big heavy tank like a Spartan or something like that, right?
Well, because you're also outflanking, right? So
Yeah.
you're either getting side or back armor.
Yeah.
No, that's a good idea too.
I mean, missiles are more versatile, but
yeah, I've had a lot of good luck with them, with especially like if there isn't a tank that I'm destroy with one of these things, or there is no objective because it's like a kill point match, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, well, I have 3 of these javelins, and that's a lot of missile firepower that I can lay into some Marines and try to wipe out that squad, right? At distance.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
So yeah, and then of course, if you take Interceptor, well, that could be good on some Devastator squads if you heavy support squads, if you got long range stuff for that.
I mean, tanks, like, really, even as like somebody's got javelins against you, and you're like, okay, my Land Raider is going to take it, right? Like, you have a lot of like view with that Land Raider, right? And those last cannons will really hurt anything. Really, I mean, just an example, but you're right. You have options, so that's kind of nice.
Yep. No, definitely. And then, of course, with that same rule, so when Guilliman's fighting a challenge, so he'll gain +1 weapon skill on each round of continuous combat after the first, and then so on and so on. So
he's getting smarter.
Yeah.
Every round, right?
Well, he's learning from the combat, I guess. Like just
yeah.
It's funny when you start fighting against some of the other Primarchs, and all of a sudden it's like, no, you're not hitting on 3s anymore. Like, we're at the same level now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
or
it does.
He gets better because
yes,
a lot of rounds will go past third rounds, right?
Yeah, for sure. And then of course, if it's a new challenge, it resets. So,
right.
But unyielding will. So Guilliman's leadership has never negated modifiers of any kind, and he can re-roll failed denied the witch tests.
It's pretty awesome.
Yep. That's good, yeah.
The Armor of Reason. I like this one too. So literally it's a 2+, 4+ invulnerable save, but in addition, the first invulnerable save failed by Guilliman in each particular phase of the game may be re-rolled. So this has saved my bacon a number of times, where it's just my rolls are hot and I'm making these saves, right?
But it's like each phase.
Yes.
Like, that's insane. Like, it could be shooting, it could be combat, it could be
psychic.
Like, it's awesome. Yeah, like it's awesome.
Yeah, and then the Lion stole it.
Yeah.
No, the Lions is once per turn.
Oh, is it? So slightly weaker.
Don't quote me on that, please. I know it's not as good as Guilliman's. I remember looking at that. So.
So then his weapons, for close combat weapons. So he's got the 2, and they do confer the +1 attack because of the 2 specialist weapons, as Armin mentioned before there. Gladius and Candor is his sword. So +1 strength, 2 AP, melee shred, murder strike, and specialist weapon, of course. I've used it fair bit.
Shred with +1 attack, with +1 strength, is awesome.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and murder strike, pretty cool. Hand of Dominion. This is big old power fist, pretty much. And it's 10 strength, AP1. Concussive. And it's unwieldy.
I mean, and that's awesome because it's not like it's like ×2 strength. It's 10 flat.
Yep.
Yeah, it's unwieldy, but AP1 is amazing too. So if you go up against a vehicle, or a knight or something, it dies. Right?
Horus's Claw.
Mm-hmm.
What's the effects? It reduces...
minus weapon skill, minus strength. So
this still 10.
If you're using your fist, it means nothing. And with the +1 weapon skill that Guilliman gets, Horus is 8 weapon skill, I believe. So he is on 3s. So, I mean, if Horus one turn doesn't succeed with Guilliman's +1 weapon skill, then all of a sudden they're equal. And at this point, Guilliman now has taken a big advantage. And I know Andy and I have played it out a few times where I run Horus and he runs Guilliman. And if Guilliman makes those saves pretty good couple turns, like Horus will actually lose. I mean, Horus still technically should win statistically, but you know how dice go up and down.
Yeah.
Right? Like it makes a big difference to have those 2 rules with the base strength 10 just flat. It's really nice, right? So,
and I'm sure we'll see that at some point in some of these Primarch fights.
Oh, we will for sure. Not
this
round,
current round,
unfortunately. But... yeah, not this round, but if you guys are listening, we are doing another set and of Primarch fights. So when this ends, they will not stop. We're going to continue doing them. So
exactly.
Make sure to keep watching. And then what, Arbitrator?
Yep, that's his fancy combi bolter. 18 range, strength 6, AP 3, assault 2, rending. So
not bad. I mean,
no, it's
not AP 2, but the rending helps, right?
Yeah. And yeah, that is the Ultramarines in a nutshell, I guess. Longer than a nutshell, but
basically, yeah.
A lot of fun. It's funny because, again, like I said, in our community, the time that we did have one player, I wasn't actually playing them, and then a little while after the fact, I started playing them because I was like, you know what, I want to play Loyalist Legion. I'm going to do it. It's going to go with my old favorites, the Ultramarines. And ever since then, there really hasn't been anybody else who's played them here. And I think
I don't think
I've seen one when we went to LVO earlier in the year. There was another Ultramarines player at LVO. Yeah, he had a pretty cool looking army too. A little different than mine, but still a lot of guns. But yeah, fluff-wise, game-wise.
The great part about them is, you could run them anywhere you want.
Exactly.
Not only fluff-wise does that work, but also like effectiveness. You could probably pick a rule and run something that will actually make any army effective. So they're kind of like, you could almost do anything you want with them. And not only would it make sense fluff-wise, you would also be pretty good at it too, right? So
Yep.
Because they're kind of the jack of all trades, right? The master of none, but they're pretty much good at
Master Volchmar.
Yeah, I wouldn't go ahead and say, oh, they're amazing at this. They're really good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of nice. And that's kind of how you see them, right?
Yeah.
Like they adapt to all situations, and long term, they come out victorious usually.
And it's funny because that's literally been like how it's been for me playing them. I've had to adapt, a fair bit with them, and then eventually I became victorious with them, right? So, but
I think
a lot of fun.
I was gonna say the number one reason to play them is everyone has a closet with a fistful of transfers from all the years of boxes that people have been collecting, right? Because it's literally all GW gives you when you buy a Space Marine box is the Ultramarine transfers.
No, you used to get like
you get a little bit of Blood Angels,
and
Space Wolves. A little bit, yeah.
Very Ultramarine heavy, right? But I won't lie, there's no drawer of shame of the amount of Ultramarine decals I have.
So what does the Ultramarine symbol remind you of, Andy?
Are you really going to bring this up?
Yeah, it's the
Omega.
Yeah, I mean Omega, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Armin has this theory.
I'm sure I'm not the only one that has this theory.
But we're not Alpha Legion. No. Ultramarines. All the way. Don't get me wrong, Alpha Legion's pretty cool. They got a pretty cool army, and even in Heresy, their rule set and everything's pretty neat. Did enjoy their stories too. But yeah, I'm the real loyalist.
Ultramarines are the classic. army, right? They're
Basically,
the W
yeah.
army. They're nice. They look good.
Oh, they're the poster boys, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
but
They're like pretty, you know.
first Ultramarine character I had when, I think it was maybe second, third edition. It was Calgar, right? And just fell in love with it. Still have the codex from that era, and
Nice.
the other characters that have come up, that kind of stuff. And it's nice to see all the characters from the Horus Heresy, and would love to see them, made in model wise. Otherwise, there's a lot of wicked conversions out there. Wicked conversion. Fulminteris, Ventanus, even the Storm Squads. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's nice to see.
But yeah, I think that wraps.
It's about it, eh?
I think that wraps it up. So if you guys like what you've heard here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, and we're also on the Podbean. What else is there? The
Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah. iTunes.
Yeah, I mean,
Google
join
Play.
us, right? Like, subscribe if you don't want to hear notifications because of all the cool new things that we're doing and posting. I mean, you don't have to click that button, but we do have content coming out constantly, so that's really nice. And I mean,
And thank you guys for listening and taking time checking us out.
Yeah.
It's always and give us feedback. What do you want to hear? What do you want to see? A lot of new exciting stuff happening. So we'll see everything in the future into action. Everybody's excited. Hopefully everybody can start playing some good games again, and it'll be awesome.
Definitely.
So, and with that, catch you guys later.
Toodaloo.